Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, good morning. Before we start, let's begin our lesson by praying together. Okay, after we pray, I will check the attendance. The material we will discuss for today is the reproductive system. Before that, I will explain about the learning objective. For learning objective, student must be able to 1. Explain the structure and function of the organs that make up the male and female reproductive system. 2. Explain the process of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. 3. Explain examples of disorder that can interfere with the function of the organs that make up the reproductive system. 4. Associate the function of various reproductive organs with disorder that can interfere with the work of the reproductive system. But for today, we will focus on discussing about the structure and function of the organ that make up the male and female reproductive system and the process of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Okay, let's see the picture. You can ask some question about the things you want to know. For example, what makes the difference between the reproductive system of male and female? How are egg sperm cell formed? Okay, who want to ask based on this picture before we start discussing the material? Okay, thank you, Jan. So, human reproduce is to preserve their offspring through the birth of their children. The human reproductive system is needed to reproduce. In today's lesson, we will discuss about the organs that make up the male and female reproductive system, sex hormones, and the process of forming sex cell. So, listen to our lesson carefully, okay?
Okay, class. I will explain about the reproductive system. The human reproductive system consists of the male reproductive system and female reproductive system. Both are built by the reproductive organ. I will explain about reproductive organ in male. The main reproductive organ in male are the two testes, which are located outside the abdominal cavity and are enclosed by a sac called the scrotum. Why is it located outside the abdominal cavity? This is related to the optimal temperature required by the testes at the time of the information of sex cell, which is sperm. Then the testes produce sperm. The required temperature is 2 Celsius below normal body temperature, which is 37 Celsius. Nah, the structure of the male reproductive organ can be seen in the image above. Okay, class. Sperm reproductive and transport are as follows. First, the seminiferous duct make up most the tissue in the testes. There are about 100 channels. Second, the epithelium on the walls of the seminiferous canal consists of one layer of incisional epithelial cells and about 6 layers of cells that develop from this cell in the formation of sperm. Third, Leydig cells surrounding the seminiferous tubule, also called interstitial cells, produce testosterone, a male hormone. And fourth, among the cells that are dividing, there are certainly cells as cells that provide nutrients to sperm. Next, I will explain about spermatogenesis. Okay, class. In this picture, you can see how spermatogenesis began. The first spermatogenesis takes place in the testes, precisely in the seminiferous tubule. Then the process in the tertiary cells, there are stem cells called spermatogenia. This cell develop into primary spermatocytes. Next, the primary spermatocyte divides into two secondary spermatocytes. The number of chromosomes in the secondary spermatocyte has been reduced to half set. Next, each secondary spermatocyte divides again with a reduction in the number of chromosomes. It's into two cells called spermatid. Next, the head of spermatid enters on the tertiary cell to receive vital material for sperm maturation. And the last, spermatids undergo shape modification into sperm cells or spermatozoa. Now, spermatozoa consists of a nucleate head and tail.
Okay, now guys, let's move to the other section, that is female's reproductive organs. In this section, we will discuss about three material, that is female reproductive organs, and then sex hormones, and the last is oogenesis process. Now, we move to the first step, that is female's reproductive organs. One is ovaries. The ovaries have a circular structure called a follicle. Its function is to produce mature eggs for fertilization and the production of steroid hormone in large quantities. And then oviduct. The oviduct serves to carry sperm and eggs to the place where fertilization occurs, namely the ampulla of the fallopian tube, and become the channel and place of growth of the fertilization products. And then uterus. The uterus composed of thick muscle. This thick muscle layer consists of 3 layers that have the ability to grow and develop so that it can maintain and sustain a pregnancy for 9 months. The three main layers of the uterus are the perimetrium, myometrium, and then endometrium. And the last is vagina. The vagina has an important function as a birth canal for sexual intercourse, as well as a channel for draining mucus and menstrual blood. Okay, let's move to the second section, that is female's reproductive hormone. The first is luteining hormone, or we call it LH.
In woman, the release of a mature egg in the ovary in triggered by a large surge of LH known in the pre-ovulatory LH surge. And then follicle stimulating hormone, or we call it FSH. FSH stimulates the maturation of ovarium of ovarian follicles are developed of more mature and sexual follicle. And then estrogen, it plays an important role in the development of the inner lining of the endometrium. And then the last is progesterone. This hormone plays a role in the events of menstruation, ovulation, and pregnancy. Progesterone together with estrogen play an important role in the regulation of female sex hormones. Okay, and we move to the third section, that is um, oogenesis process. So guys, can you tell me what the meaning of oogenesis? Anybody? Okay, I will tell you about oogenesis process. Oogenesis is the process of forming an egg or ovum in the ovary. Oogenesis begins with the formation of ovum cells called oogenia. At the end of the third month of fetal life, all diploid organs have been formed and are ready to enter the division stage. Initially, the oogenia divide by meiosis to produce the primary oocyte. In later fetal development, all primary oocytes divide by meiosis, but only until prophase. Entering puberty, the oocyte continue the division of meiosis 1. The result of this division is two haploid cells. One large cell is called the secondary oocyte, and one smaller cell is called the primary polar body. In the next stage, the secondary oocyte and the primary polar body will undergo meiosis II division. At that time, the secondary oocyte will divide into two cells, namely one normal sized cell called the oocyte and another smaller size called the secondary polar body. The polar body joins with two other secondary polar bodies from the division of the primary polar body to obtain three secondary polar bodies. The oocyte undergoes further development into a mature ovum, while the three polar bodies degenerate. Thus, it can be concluded that in oogenesis, only one ovum is produced. Okay, now we move to the asking question. Asking for you guys. Attention, everyone. Be quiet, please. After I explain the material about the reproductive system, so guys, please try to do the question sheet in your book, page 554, about reproductive system. But this text will be worked in group. discuss with your group mates about the types and functions of the reproductive organs or sex hormones and then reproductive rate. Uh, a group could consist 5 until 6 people, right? Okay. Oh, one more thing. You will have to present the task in front of the class. Get it? And I expect all group members can do the presentation as well because even though there's a group assignment, but I will make an individual assessment. So make sure you prepare well. Is there any question? Okay. Now we go to summarize it.
Okay, guys. Let's summarizing about reproductive system in human. Human reproduction is bisexually, uh, with the mean of reproductive in the help of hormone. Then the male reproductive organ include testes, epididymis, vas deferens, urethra, and penis, equipped with seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and Kupffer gland. The information of sperm cells occur in the seminiferous tubules of the testes, while the seminal fluid or semen is produced in a cohesive manner by the three glands, namely the seminal vesicle, then prostate glands, and Kupffer gland. The male reproductive organ include the ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus, and vagina. The information of an egg occur the ovary, and fertilization occur in the fallopian tube. If fertilization occurs, the embryo implant and develop in the uterus. Now, if the egg is not fertilized, menstruation occurs due to the cavity of the hormone estrogen and progesterone.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, we finished our lesson for today regarding the male and female reproductive system, as well as the process of forming sex cell. After hearing the material that has been explained, I want to ask you guys, if anyone can answer it, I will give additional point. Okay, who can name what organs make up the female reproductive system? Name at least 3. Anyone? Okay, is it true, Brian? These 3 organs are the makeup of the female reproductive system. Okay, thank you. I will give you extra point. All right, that's our biology lesson for today. We close our class by saying Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next week, guys.